Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are up on Facebook Live on Women Speakers Association now. And I'm just going to put off my mute there. So this is the first time that we've done a Facebook Live for our speaker chat. And we thought we'd give it a try, and we would love to get feedback from you all afterwards. But what we want to do first of all is we want to actually show you, those of you who want to still come play with us on speaker chat on TWUBS, just how to go about doing that. And Mary will be watching for any chatter in there, and we will be acknowledging it as we see it. So just a moment here. I am going to share my screen. So we will all disappear off here for just a second. Let me just share my Twitter. All right. So here you go. This is my Twitter account. And what you need to do first of all is to log into Twitter. And then you need to go to speaker chat, and you'll see this. So it'll be twubs.com/speaker chat. And there is an option here to log in. So when you click on login, you want to use this option here. So you want to log in with your Twitter account. If you use this option, then you show up at what we call affectionately Mr. Potato Head. So it's much better for you to come play with us using your Twitter account. That way too, when you're posting things, it's going to go out on your Twitter feed, which is a great way to get you more awareness too. So I would just click this, and you will not see this because for some reason it actually disappears, but I have to authorize the app. So when you get to the screen, it'll say authorize app. I click authorize app. It's going to redirect me, and then it's going to show up. Here we go. Okay, so when you get to this point, you'll see some of our posts, and you'll be able to type in here. If you want to click in this box, it automatically puts speaker chat on it, so we know they're talking about what we're doing, and commenting on the great information that's going to be shared by one of our premier members and leadership team members, Deb Coleman. So I'm going to stop the share, and we're going to get started. So just a moment here. All right, we are back and everybody's muted, and that's awesome. So just a sec here. Okay. So we are very excited to try out new technology. Today what we're doing is we're using the Zoom webinar function, and we can share it to Facebook Live. So there's a little bit of a delay between our actual speaking live at this moment, and within about 5 seconds we show up on the Facebook page. So if you see any kind of disconnects in there, you'll know why that's happening. And as I mentioned before, we will not only have our, not only will Mary be watching our Facebook Live message below, but we're also going to be watching the speaker chat on our TWUBS and Twitter as well. So first of all, I want to introduce my co-host, Mary. Mary, you want to give us a wave? And Mary will be answering any questions that she sees are there. She's going to be relaying some information. We may have some additional questions for our guest as we move through this, and Mary will be sharing those as well. So we'll keep touching base with Mary, and bear with us. This is a little bit new technology, so there might be some hiccups along the way, but I expect it's going to be awesome, and I'm so happy that you're able to come join us. So let's start with a little bit of an introduction about Mary, and then we'll move on to Deb. So Mary is also part of the WSA leadership team. She's located in the UK, and I had the pleasure of spending some time with her and Deb recently again, so I was very excited about that. And Mary is going to help me out with this, and she is affectionately known as the Resources Queen. So if you're looking on Twitter, you want to look for her handle is @ResourcesQueen. And lots of great information on how you can repurpose your content to turn into information products and all the resources that you need to kind of help you build out your business. And I myself, I'm Tracy Eman. I'm part of the WSA executive team, and I am also a speaker chat regular. I've been involved with speaker chat for probably over 4 years, and when Melanie Benson started it, and I joined in with her. So I'm excited that we're continuing on, and it's kind of evolving as technology evolves around us. And today, our guest is Deb Komin. And Deb is the founder of debkomin.com and the creator of the 7 Steps to Content Strategy That Converts, which is, I don't know about you, but that's what I want. So this is going to be great information for you to see. As a speaker, content marketing strategist, and copywriter, Deb empowers speakers, and entrepreneurs to capture and convey their core purpose and message, and to use strategy to increase their visibility, referral partners, speaking gigs, and sales. Deb is a premier member and on the leadership team of the Women Speakers Association, and it is my pleasure to welcome you today, Deb.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad that you could make it, and thank you for allowing us to not only share your expertise, but also checking out the technology with us and playing along. So that's awesome.
I'm happy to do it. And I know I so appreciate being featured. And I know that we talked about being a little bit of a guinea pig just because we're testing how this goes. And we wanted to be sure we kind of have it down before offering it out to other people. So it's great kind of little experiment in the moment. And I'm really excited to be able to share with everybody today.
Wonderful. Well, today what we're going to touch on, I say touch because I know this is probably a topic that you could talk on and on about and share so much information, but we're going to just touch on some of it today. So we're talking about content marketing strategy for speakers. And during this, we're going to touch on, what a good content marketing strategy includes, how to increase your visibility and credibility as an expert and speaker, how to use content marketing to save time and effort, and 7 steps to build your content marketing strategy. So we are going to get started with question 1. Now, just a quick reminder to the people that are watching, and you may be watching now, or you may be coming back and watching this afterwards, which is the great thing about doing this with Facebook Live, is you can come back and watch us after. Now, and we also actually ask if you know of other people that would be interested in what we're sharing out today, please go ahead and share this link to your profile, and we can have some more people join us, and that way we'll have more questions that can then be answered along the way, and it just gives us a great opportunity to share Deb's expertise. So, all right, so Deb, what is content marketing strategy?
Thank you. I'd love to start there. And that is, I'm sure people have different definitions. So I think it's helpful to kind of see, share mine so people can kind of weigh in on whether that works for them or not. To me, a content marketing strategy is a comprehensive approach to creating, sharing, and repurposing our information in a way that provides value to others, that promotes engagement, and leads to relationships that will ultimately lead to more speaking gigs, more business, more sales. And actually, I can talk for hours just about the definition, and I sometimes do, because to me, it's this whole framework for how we approach our message, our core message, and then how we kind of carry that out into all the ways that we show up online and off. And the strategy piece is what really gives it some direction so that it does what we really want it to do, which is hopefully attract the right people, give them something of value, begin and nurture relationships so that we can, be referred by others, that we can join into collaborative relationships, so that we can offer a program or service and people are, more ready to buy because they know us.
I agree. I agree exactly with what you're saying. I think it is really important to, it's about your online presence. So are you showing up the way that you want to? If you don't have a plan, there's that saying, right? If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail.
Exactly. And what I feel is true, and I know a lot of us share this, not just on the leadership team, but probably a lot of our members and speaker friends, that without the strategy to what we do, we can have very best whatever, talk, article, piece of PR, whatever it might be, program, but without a strategy behind it, we're going to be limiting ourselves in some way. Either it's not going to reach the most broad audience we want it to reach, or it's going to reach them, but they're not going to know what to do after they consume it. It's like a great blog article that people read and say, wow, that's awesome, I love it, and they're finished and they click away. So for me, what I love about empowering speakers and entrepreneurs to use the approach is that it allows them to be more directive and intentional, like not only when they create that content, but when they go about delivering it. So it could be their talk from the stage. I mean, it's probably very much the same components that, we want people to do more than just consume it. We hope that we're going to get some kind of a conversation going, even if it's one that happens after they leave the stage. But it's that whole thing that we're offering value and we're showing up as experts, and people are hopefully deciding whether they want to know more. And we have those first few moments, particularly online. We know it's about like 4 seconds most of the time before they decide whether they're going to stick around or not. So our strategy, I feel like, is very empowering if we embrace this approach, because we not only know how to create and share, but we can also repurpose what we do.
There you go. And that actually leads me to my next question. But I just wanted to touch on, with that strategy, having a call to action. When you brought up having that fabulous blog post that people are digesting and going, okay, wow, like this really inspires me. And then there's no call to action on it. They just disappear because there's going to be, they're going to search for the answer somewhere else because you haven't provided it for them, or that opportunity. So
exactly. And it can really be very simple. I mean, and it can just come from, our place of authenticity. Like, just why are we sharing it? We're sharing it because we want to know what people think, or we want to know, here are our 10 best strategies. Let me know one of yours. And not just because that's the thing to ask, but because we really want to know. This is like our marketing world too. Like, when people give back to us, as you know, Tracy, they're speaking in their keywords, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're telling us what they want more of or what they need help with. And if we're not only setting the stage with the call to action, but also staying engaged there to really take it further, we're leaving a lot of, opportunity on the table, for being chosen for speaking gigs, found by event planners, found by referral partners. A lot of us not only speak, but have a business. So it's a way to really, position ourselves. And whenever I say the position or strategy, it's not meant to be in a manipulative sort of way, but it is meant to be in a planful, filled with intention sort of way. And we all know we put a lot of work into what we do. And with Mary being the resources queen, the same is true for her too around repurposing. We don't want to spend all this time creating and then have a really short lifespan for what that piece of content does. And we can use the strategy to really get a lot more mileage and reach a lot more people.
Very well said, Deb. And I'm going to move on to question 2 in just a second. We're going to talk a little bit more about creating, sharing, and repurposing. But Mary, I just wanted to check in with you and see if there was anything that you wanted to share from our threads that are happening right now.
Oh yeah, hello everyone. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Twitter, so we've had loads of different people jumping on and asking questions and so saying hello and just saying how much they love your topic, Deb. And we've got a question from Ramona, and she's saying, can you talk about how the strategy differs, and this might tie into some of our questions, how your strategy differs if your ideal clients are established women entrepreneurs who may not be following blogs or opting in to lists. So that's just something, Deb, and then I will come back with more. This is exciting. I feel like on the spot reporter.
Well, you're doing a fabulous job at it, so that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Mary. Now, Deb, do you want to maybe address that question first before we move on to the other one?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. And hi, Ramona. So glad you could be here. Great question, because and I had this discussion with people today, actually, and I have it very often, that sometimes we're reaching more than one target audience. And um, we're right to think about, especially if we're looking for more established entrepreneurs or more established speakers with whatever we have to offer. Um, a lot of them are probably not opting in to things. A lot of them are probably not reading every newsletter that comes across their desk. They have a lot of other activities to be spending their time on. So for that reason, my content marketing strategy, and not just mine, but a good plan, I believe, incorporates multiple channels and vehicles for the information to be shared. And you know, you're right, Ramona, I think, to be asking this, and that if it's just the opt-in, just the blog, just the newsletters, there's a whole great big portion of people who are never going to see that, who may be our ideal clients and may really want to buy from us or refer us. So to me, that's where social media comes in. And again, a real directive, intentional way of showing up and interacting. And, you know, it's the same as when we show up in person when we're at an event. You know, we may not be giving away our business cards. We don't always need to be doing that, but we do need to be engaging in a way that begins a conversation that hopefully we take beyond the platform, the event, the whatever it is. So really good question. And again, I guess it comes back to the definition that I use, in that a good content marketing strategy plan is quite comprehensive. It really kind of looks at all the different ways we show up and the different ways we can reach our audience wherever they're at in their journey as an entrepreneur or as a speaker.
Great response, Deb, once
Thank
again.
you.
And, you know, I was thinking the same thing too, is that, you know, your blog post, like, you still need to write your blog post. You still need to have information, but it's, you don't just build it and they'll come. You actually have to get it out there and let people find it, right? So
Yes.
anyway, that's a fabulous response there. And thanks again, Ramona, for the question. So we're gonna go on and explore a little bit further. And can we get you to talk about creating, sharing, and repurposing of the content?
Yes. And I look at that in a bunch of different ways. So one is, when I speak about creating, typically it's our own material, you know, our own area of expertise, our own opinion. It might be some personal, because we want to introduce a lot of that, or at least some of that, to whatever extent we're comfortable. I really believe strongly that people do business with people, not really with businesses and brands. So the more we show up as who we really are, the better. So a lot of our content is going to be that creation piece, what we write, what we deliver in a live stream, what we deliver in a talk. The sharing piece is both our own material and other people's material and content. And I feel like that's a really important piece of bringing more value to the people who are connected with us. That, you know, we may be the expert in our area or one of many experts, but if we know that they have multiple challenges, for instance, as a speaker or as an entrepreneur, and we come across other valuable content out there, why would we not bring that to the people who are following us? So that sharing piece is also about sharing someone else's blog and sharing, you know, retweeting other people's tweets. Always keeping in mind who we're trying to reach, and being mindful of their time, and being mindful of what their challenges are or what their interest is. And I also suggest introducing a piece of ourselves into why we're sharing, and not always assuming, well, they must know. I think it's important. Like, take a minute or so to include a little introduction to, you know, on Twitter, it might be great content, and here it is, or love number 3 of the 4 tips to do XYZ. Or to say, you know what, this has nothing to do with my area, but I really got a chuckle out of this today and I wanted to share it. So we give people the context in which to consume what we're sharing. And the repurposing is, really about that one piece that we create and thinking about the different ways it can also be shared. Meaning that the blog, like you were saying, Tracy, it might become a talk. We might expand it to an entire talk or a workshop. It might become a webinar. It hopefully is becoming a whole lot of tweets, or a Facebook introduction, our newsletter. It's just the content marketing approach is to really consider what other forms can this one message take. And it saves us a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money, really, in the end, because we only have to kind of create that main message once. And now we have a whole lot of content, not just to have more, but because people find us different ways. They're not all, like we said with Ramona's question, they're not all on our newsletter. So if that's the only place we're going to share this, then it's not of value to those people who know us on Twitter and Facebook and so forth. So I love that part of it too, because it really gives you a lot to work from.
Definitely. And really, I mean, maybe you can share just a little bit more about repurposing. On what you gave us was phenomenal. But I think there's things like, if we touch on, evergreen, like why reinvent the wheel, right? So what can we do so we can stop reinventing that wheel? And then after this, we'll hop back to Mary and see if there's any more questions for us.
Okay.
So go ahead and go with this one right now.
Okay, great. Yeah. So repurposing, as I was first saying, has to do with that one piece of content that we just created and putting it out multiple ways. But also, Tracy, as you're sharing, that evergreen piece, that when we create a log, there is no reason, unless it's really dated, that it can't be shared multiple times, particularly on a platform like Twitter, as we all know, that's quite fleeting. And not everyone is going to see everything. And that's the nature of the platform. So whenever we have information like that we can recycle and repurpose, it allows us to reach different people who find us 6 months from now, a year from now. There's no reason they have to they probably never will go searching for that blog on our website. But if we have recycled some tweets about it, or even some of the platforms like Facebook, once in a while you pull something up from the library that we have and say, what, this seems relevant today, so I'm going to share it. We can refresh it a little bit, or we can share it as is. So it's another way to create a content library. As we all know, we do that with Women Speakers Association. We do that with a lot of ours, and a lot of us do that in our own businesses. So it's something to keep in mind a little bit when you're creating. So I suggest to my clients, if you don't need to put in a specific date, like yesterday was Christmas and this, maybe you want to leave that out so that you can feel a little more free to share it throughout the year. I mean, sometimes it's fine, but be mindful of that. Be mindful of ways that you might be restricting your content versus, giving it more life right from the start.
That's great. And I can see that. I mean, you see it as well, right? You get things that are retweeted that were out there a while ago, and it's like, okay, well, this content is relevant now as well, so you should be sharing it out, because things do move so quickly, and there's so many different platforms that we're all on, and sometimes you don't maybe pay as much attention as you want to a certain one, and you're missing out on this great information. So you're actually doing a service for your customers and your prospects by repurposing that information and providing them with some knowledge that they're out there looking for. So
yeah, exactly. And as entrepreneurs, I think sometimes we get hung up on the tasks of creating our content, and we think, oh, I finally wrote that blog, it's out in the newsletter, I'm finished. And really, some of the work has just begun. If you really want to get as much repurposing out of it, create those tweets, create a place to introduce it on Facebook or Google Plus, or create an image to put on Instagram that relates back to that blog. And that's how we repurpose, and that's how we shift our mindset from, as you're saying, a task that's done and in the past to something that can bring new people to us for a long time to come.
Yeah, and people aren't always ready for the information that you're providing them today, but they could be ready 6 months from now. So just always keep that in mind. So that's great information you're sharing. Now, Mary, back to Mary. Do you have any updates or any questions that have come out of any of this so far?
Yeah, I've got some updates. Firstly, I just want to give a big shout out to Lisa Mannion, our amazing Lisa Mannion, who's really posting some great stuff over on our TWUBs, but also to Patrice, because she's been amazing at just doing snapshots of the information that Deb is sharing. So she's been sharing some great stuff over there on our TWUBs. And we've had a few people join us on our chat, and we've got wonderful Ramona has given us another great question, which I think would be a good time if I can give that to you now, Deb. And it's about I'm just going to read it directly. I've been live streaming regularly on my FB biz page, but not getting a great audience. I get better engagement on my personal page, but know that FB doesn't like that. How would you suggest building an audience? Would it be better for me to create a specific FB group and live stream in there? And I think that's a hot question for a lot of people.
Yeah, another good question. And live streaming, is an absolutely, as we know, that's why we're doing this today. It's a good avenue to tap into people, obviously, because it's in real time, and you can't get that same feel when you read a blog and write a comment and they reply 3 days later and whatever. So awesome, Ramona, that you do that. We all know Facebook, or maybe we don't, Facebook business pages, including the Women Speakers Association page, gets very little organic reach. Some people have it down to like 1%. I don't know, Tracy, you may know. I've heard under 3 and as low as 1. So live streaming does boost that. Facebook likes video. They will share more of it and put it in front of more people. They will share live video even more. However, still sometimes the reach isn't that great. So Facebook does not like nor really allow too much business to be conducted on personal profiles. People always say, well, I see everyone doing it. Well, they kind of haven't been caught. And there are a lot of people who have. So, and the definition is a little bit, left to probably Facebook's discretion as to what constitutes, I think they say, primarily using it for business purposes. So a completely legitimate workaround, you broadcast from the Facebook business page, just like we're doing here, and then you share it to your personal profile. And I think, Ramona, part of your question was also like, how do you grow that following on the page? Your call to action is, hey, if you're finding me here on my personal profile, head on over to my page. For one, they can engage in the chat there, and you'll be able to see it in real time. And you can say things as, if you like what you're hearing, perhaps you want to like my page. I definitely personally prefer a very soft sell, a very invitational kind of call to action. Some people say, hey, if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you turn notifications on. Some people don't like that. They don't like to be that directed, but you just invite them. So that's one way. And then using your other platforms to draw people in and head them back over to that Facebook Live or Periscope, wherever you might be doing it. Because again, through repurposing, you can share that link on all your other platforms, essentially. So I hope that answers it.
Yeah, that's good. And actually just a little bit further on repurposing the link afterwards. If you go to our video, for instance, when you're watching it, and you'll see the little date stamp below it, if you click on that date stamp, it'll actually give you a permalink for this particular post video. You can share that out. So you can do the same thing with your live broadcast as well. Additionally, and this is a great time for me to say, hey, if you're watching this and you're enjoying this information, you haven't liked our page yet, we would appreciate the like, and we would love to answer any questions and interact with you. So definitely come pay us a visit. Wonderful. Anything else, Mary, or shall we move on to the next question?
Am I still on mute?
You are live, baby.
Oh, I'm live, and I've been making lots of noise.
No, you've been fine.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think we can move on to the next question because lots of people tuning in and lots of rounds of applause and everything for Deb. So yeah,
Perfect. Wonderful. So we're
stuff.
going to move on to the next question then. So people have different definitions of what they think of as content. Can you share yours? And then maybe at the same time that you're sharing yours, maybe people that are on our Facebook Live watching in the comments can kind of share different ways that they or share their different definitions of what they think content is.
That would be great. Yeah. If people can type in the chat what they think of when they think of content, what we're talking about today, that is great. You know, and then we'll exchange notes, right? I'll go ahead, try not to be influenced. And I know that a lot of us, I think on the leadership do share this too. And I know my friend Lisa Mannion does, because we've had a lot of head nodding when we talk about this as a group. Some people think of content as kind of strictly your blog or an article that you might show up in or have guest written or been interviewed. And they think of content as social media posting. And that's kind of about it. Or maybe their newsletter. I mean, I've heard people say those three things. I believe that those are content, but I believe content is so much more. And I believe it's everything that we do. I believe it's the way that we show up when we are speaking, you know, one-on-one or from the stage. I believe it's when we're writing. So whether it's a blog or content on our website, like our About Me page, our service descriptions, what we share on social media that's ours, as well as other people's information that we're sharing, I think speaks volumes often about what we find important. And it's just everything that we do, which to some, I think, I'd love to know what people are saying in the chat, because for some that might seem kind of daunting or like, well, what's so great about that? You know, like, so if it's everything, then what's unique about it? But my point in looking at it that way is that I also believe we're constantly marketing ourselves, whether we are doing it intentionally or not, so that when we show up, you know, personally or professionally, people are making decisions about us, you know, whether it's what we hope they do or not, and whether they want to know more, whether they think we have value, whether they think we can bring something to their audiences if they're an event planner. And therefore, all of that information that we're sharing, to me, is our content. It's the stuff that they are making decisions about. So I think that some people think it's daunting in that, like, oh my gosh, I have to be thinking about all those pieces. But my second half of that is I always say to people to not worry about the marketing component, like just kind of relax into it, because you are it. How you show up is it. And that's said to not make you stress. It's hopefully said to make you relax. Like they are deciding if they want to work on you, with you, based on who you are. Yes, you need to have value and expertise. I mean, that goes without saying, I hope. But beyond that, why are they choosing you over the 10,000s or hundreds of thousands of other people who do similar work? And it's how we show up online and off. So I invite people to just broaden their perspective on content, because it also kind of broadens their ability to be empowered with how they use it, how they direct it, how they are more mindful. And, you know, maybe you're not going to share something that you might share without that thought, because a lot of people feel like, well, I'm doing it on my personal profile. It's okay, or it's just me. And that is fine. And maybe you're okay with whatever that result is. But people are going to take note and make some buying decisions sometimes based on what that is. So the more we show up as who we really are, wherever we are, the more advantageous it is to our businesses and our speaking careers, I feel.
And you had said before, you know, there could be 10,000 other people doing the same services as you, providing the same results as you, but they're not you. So allowing people to sort of see how you relate to things and help to build that relationship and help them understand who you are can help them make that decision. And I mean, in the end, that actually helps you out too, because we're not all meant to work together. There, we may all be lovely people, but there might not be that synergy between maybe the way we go about things or whatever it might be. So I see Mary is ready to share some of the comments that we've had coming up while we're sharing
Great.
your information. So please go ahead.
Yeah, that kind of set the chat on fire. That question, what do you think content is? And Sherry says, I think content is anything that you put out to the public. And we also had Ramona saying content equals blogs, newsletters, website, live streaming, articles, social media, books, speaking. Ramona, are you a premier member? Because Ramona's like, she knows her stuff. Lisa Davis, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce her surname, so Budzinski. Content involves every aspect of what we do for our area of expertise. Then we have our amazing Lisa Mannion, content, the written part of all marketing, advertising, promotional, and communication materials. This carries over to all mediums, radio, blog, speaking, social media posts, magazine articles. And then when we have Lisa, I'm calling her Lisa D, even showing up at conferences is part of content marketing. And I think as speakers, that is definitely something that resonates with me. Showing up in places, who you are, how you speak, how you interact, that also comes across as content. Yeah, so that's been lots of love and hearts, and yay, thumbs up to Debs, and people are loving the topic. It's so valuable to so many people in business.
Perfect, and I can't wait to go back and listen to it again afterwards
speakers.
too.
It's so funny.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next question. Deb, what else is important about our content?
Let's see. First, I also want to just say I love everyone's answers, and that it sounds like people really do have a very broad definition. So I really love that, because it really means that you're showing up in a way that attracts the right people and gets you business. So other things that are important from my perspective is a lot of what we've touched on, but that it adds value, that we're mindful that we're busy as speakers, we're busy as entrepreneurs. Our time online is, it's got a lot of tasks to be done. And that when we share, it's going to hit the mark more if we are kind of putting it through a little filtering process of our own of, is this of value? Is this important enough to put in my newsletter, to share on social media, to do a live stream about? Because if it's not, we're going to know. People are not going to read it. They're not going to engage with it. They're not going to tune into the live stream, not because it's not important, but because they have too many things pulling them in other directions. So when we share content with that in mind, we also become known for that. So people will know, oh, so-and-so is doing a live stream, I want to watch it. Now, if you're doing it 4 or 5 times a day just to do it, people have to think, I don't know if I have time for this, or is this one going to meet my needs? So again, it's just about thinking through what we're giving. And I spoke with someone today about the same thing around your blog or your newsletter. If it's not there, like you just can't get to it, you're not sure what to write about, think of what might be helpful to your people who follow you. And maybe it's just, hey, guess what, guys? I'm having a really rough time right now. This is what's happening. If we're comfortable sharing, this is why I'm not blogging. And frequently people are going to be able to relate to that, and sometimes the more we show up with warts and all, the more people can feel like, oh, she's probably going to be able to help me, because that's what I deal with from time to time too. So having it be of value, having it promote engagement in a real way, like we really want to know, what do you think about this? Or if you go and use one of these tips, I hope you'll come back and let me know how it worked. Or if you disagree with this, let me know why and what you think. That when we show up, that we really care and we're not just putting that a question just to put a question, people start seeing that, and they may or may not respond. But if it's truly getting at a point that is of interest to them, hopefully they will give us information back, and then we have a two-way conversation, and that we are nurturing the relationship. So like Ramona had first asked, like, we're being mindful of those people who are maybe new, as well as people who know us and are or more established, that we're kind of trying to speak, keep them in mind as well when we're sharing. I always think about it a lot, especially when training. I hope I'm staying true to it today. Don't assume that people don't know anything, because sometimes, even though you don't mean it, you come across quite condescending. Like, so if you're going to go in and say, I have the whole deal on whatever, right away, you probably lost some people. So always be mindful that we can be experts, and there may also be a lot of other experts right in our audience. So the more we fashion our content to invite everybody into the conversation, the more well received it will be.
Yeah. Once again, very well said. So we're going to move on to how do we create our own content marketing strategy plan, but just in a sec there, this is moving along really well. It's amazing how quickly the time's going. So we want to make sure we touch on everything we wanted to touch on with you today. And definitely we want to invite anyone who has not yet become a member of Women Speakers Association to come to joinwsa.com. We would love to have you as a member. Things like this today is, we feature our premier members in a number of different ways. And this is another possible opportunity moving forward for you. So just keep that in mind. So Deb, let's go back to how do we create our own content marketing strategy plan?
Great. Yeah. This is my 7 steps. At least that's how I like to organize it, because of all the things that we've talked about today, and we touched on probably every single area. I like to think of it as a step-by-step process. It doesn't mean you have to start at step 1, but if you really want it all to fit together and have a nice, strong foundation, it's helpful to revisit step 1 and work your way through. So, we may have different pieces because we just put them together before, and maybe they're functioning fine. So the other thing, again, is just to maybe review it and say, yep, that's great. That's engaging, adding value, bringing me business. It's good. I like to start with that core purpose and message. And frequently, it's the part that we overlook because we feel we kind of know that. Like, well, of course we know why we're here. Of course we know why we're in business. But to go through some kind of an exercise where you really take a few minutes or an hour even, and really kind of put some language around what that is, why you do what you do, who you want to serve, how you want to help them. And then you take that and you create your elevator invitation. That piece that you're going to use at networking events or when you're introduced, that's really short and brief, but covers all those things about who you work with, what they get when they work with you, why you do what you do. So that would be the step 2. Step 3 is the website. For many of us, that's going to be our home base online. And things like our About Me section, our services description, the homepage, at least, to describe our elevator invitation in a more expanded kind of format. So as you can see, hopefully they build upon one another. If you have a really not so clear core message, those other pieces might not be doing what you want them to do. And it's probably because you're not showing up consistently or you're not that clear. So again, like the exercise, I think helps you really be sure that you are reaching the right kind of people. After the website copy, for most of us, we want an opt-in or a free gift or a sample of our work. And it builds again on all the things we've done before, as well as where we want to lead people. So where are we hoping they end up with? Is a private client doing what? So let's pick something that is along that pathway or that sales funnel, if you want to look at that way. The next step is list using that opt-in or free gift to build our list. I like to think of the opt-in as like our welcome mat, kind of like, here I am on the website. Here's the way for you to come in and stay connected. And we really need to have that, because as we know, social media platforms can leave overnight, and some of them have. And if all of our following is there goes all of our following. So we really want a place that we own, that we can have a way to stay connected with people. So we list build with the opt-in, and we list nurture. And we have to remember to really take care of those people that are already, they already like us. They're already fans. And we always want to build, but we really want to take care of the people who are already connected with us. And one way to do that is the blog. So that would be the next step of, if we choose to create some kind of content on an ongoing basis, a blog is a great way to do that. And then the last one, if I haven't left any steps out, would be social media, to repurpose all of these things that we've talked about so far, as well as to really expand our reach. And as we know, with a lot of platforms, it's almost limitless, really. I mean, all of us connect with people around the globe, and a lot of that happens on social media. That's not going to happen if we just try to get everybody to come and read our blog over here and comment. That's a really shortened, way to grow our reach. But taking what we have, interacting out on the different platforms where our people might be hanging out, is a great way to really reach more people, as well as build. I mean, it's truly limitless. I mean, the potential is just unending if we maximize it and we have a strategy around how to do that.
I love the 7 steps, and just somehow having that almost little checklist that you can go through. And like you said, if you don't want to do all the steps, that's fine, but having that checklist makes it so much easier to go, okay, this isn't so hard. There's not so many pieces kind of scrolling around in my brain that I can't actually grab and start from. So I think that Mary might have some information and feedback to share, and then we're almost winding up. So Mary, go ahead.
Yeah, I think just that people are loving this, and I've also shared the link to Deb's 7 step so that people can grab that free gift. So that link is in the comments section. So we're having some great comments as well, on TWUBS, and just all of your magic words and what you're sharing and everything has been shared out there. So we've got lots of great people on on the chat. So I just love our community. That's what I think. Just a big shout out to everyone who joined us and just sharing their wisdom, and their interaction and because this is a first for us, so we've all been like, oh, everything's playing nicely. So thank you so much, Deb, for all the information. I need to go back and watch the video again as well. But lots of love coming your way, Debs.
Thank you everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to share my 7 steps to content marketing strategy that converts, because hopefully that's what it does. Otherwise, we have to kind of ask ourselves why we're doing it, really. Ultimately, we're here to get more speaking gigs or do more business. And I'm happy to have anyone who's interested to opt in and get that. I'm also happy to do a 30-minute complimentary call with anybody who wants to reach out for that and talk more about what this might mean for their business, or where they might see that they have holes. If I can share any resources or point them in the direction of another resource, you can reach out to me through my website, or you can grab that opt-in and connect with me to do that as well.
Wonderful, Deb. And they can reach out to you at debcoman.com. So that's DEBCOMAN.com, or on Facebook.com/Deb Coman Writing, and on Twitter, and I believe also on Instagram at Deb Coman Writing, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Wonderful. So this has been phenomenal. The content marketing strategy is so important, and what you're sharing today, I imagine that it either turned on some light bulbs for people, or at the very least went, oh yeah, right, I knew that, but there's always so much stuff coming at us that we tend to kind of file stuff away for another day, right? So this has been awesome. Thank you so much for being our guest today and for joining in. And we also wanted to let everybody know that on the 21st of March, at the same time, we are back to our Twubs and Twitter virtual networking. So that's worked quite, the people that join us on that really love that. It is all on Twitter though, so we're talking 140 characters or less, but it does give you a great opportunity and helps you build up your Twitter following and share out some really good information that, sometimes you may not have shared with people yet. And I know myself, I went to a party the other night and somebody asked me what I did, and I know I told him several times before, but he's like, I wish I would have known that because we just hired somebody. I'm like, so take those opportunities, and once again, evergreen, let people know on a regular basis because they forget or it's out of context when they hear it. So definitely get your information out there. So let's just do one more maybe quick check. Do we have any questions that come through, or whether we just want to sign off for the day?
I think everyone's just saying thank you so much to Deb. Wonderful information, fab. So loving the information. So everyone's very grateful, and lots of love coming for you, Deb. And we're very fortunate to have you, and I'm very fortunate to have Deb in my world. I feel very grateful to her all the time because she amazes me all the time. Because she just communicates so clearly, and I get it first time.
Thank you. It's mutual. I mean, what we did here to, not just share about content marketing, but to hopefully bring a different way to have Women Speakers Association show up in Facebook Live. And we've done some before, but not using Zoom and not like this, as far as I know. Well, Women's WSA TV we do, but in this kind of a format. So I'm really happy to be a part of it and to be part of a place where this is what we do. We think of what else might our members like to see or hear or be featured on. And that's really why we do it. And I just love to work with you and the rest of the leadership team to work that way, to really always be thinking of, well, what else can we do? Or how else can we do that? Or, you know what, let's just try it. We met last week and we said, okay, Tuesday, we're doing it. Let's just try it. So thank you for that. And thank you to everybody who tuned in on Facebook and on Twitter to really, it's not so much fun talking to ourselves and not having engagement. So I really appreciate it because that's really what I thrive on too. Thanks.
So thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate you joining in. And if you're coming to us later in the day and it's something that others might want to learn about, or definitely share us with your contacts. We'd really appreciate it. And we are going to sign off for now. We'll be checking into the comments along the way. So if there's any questions that come up along the way, Deb will watch, and Mary and myself. So please, it's not over yet. It really isn't over, but we are going to sign off. So I'm just going to sign off now, and we will see you on the 21st at 1 p.m. on twubs.com/speaker chat. And if you didn't catch the beginning of this video, I showed you how you can kind of get in there and play with us. So take care.